Fam, I have great news. October is launch time. We are getting to the time when it is time to put your project, whatever thing you've been working on, whatever thing you have been diligently trying to get together so that it will be ready for publication for the rest of the world to see. October is the moment to get that out there. Let me tell you why. So a lot of you have probably heard me talk about electional astrology before. Electional astrology is the practice of electing moments that are more beneficial or more auspicious than other times. Sometimes there are waiting periods where there's plenty of conflict and difficulty in the way. We've been in a period like that for a pretty long time, even with Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer is very beneficent and nourishing and all this sort of stuff. But Jupiter in Cancer has been under a square from Saturn in Aries. Saturn is the planet of obstacles and boundaries and all this kind of thing. Saturn is uncomfortable in Aries, doesn't really like it there, and is in an overcoming square to Jupiter. Basically, this means that that Saturn is in Jupiter's way. There's like an annoying manager who's stopping Jupiter from living his damn life, basically. And so meanwhile, Mars has been in Libra as well. Libra is also square to Cancer, and so even though Mars hasn't been in an overcoming square, Mars has still been square to Jupiter. This is like a thorn in Jupiter's side. So Jupiter has had malefics on either side, has had a lot to deal with. This means that Jupiter has mostly been spending his time working toward making that conflict a little better where he can, rather than simply doing the Jupiter things. Now, what happens in early September, this happened already, Saturn moved into Pisces. This puts Saturn now into a trine relationship. A trine is going to be more of a beneficial, supportive, helpful kind of aspect. They see eye to eye. Not only that, but Jupiter also rules Pisces. So Jupiter is now in charge of Saturn, who is in a more beneficial position. So this looks like Jupiter can put Saturn to work, put Saturn to good use. Saturn is the one who has to do with structures and regimens and discipline and stuff like that. If Jupiter in Cancer wants to build something, then Saturn is the one who's going to be able to provide the structure to actually get that thing done. This looks like an excellent development. Also, Mars moves into Scorpio in late September. Scorpio also makes a trine to Cancer. So both of these planets move into a position where they want to help. Now, Mars in Scorpio is going to be in his own dignity, in his own sign. That is to say that Mars rules Scorpio, is very good at doing the Scorpio and Mars things there. So we're looking at rushing energy. Scorpio is the fixed water sign. Think about water that is fixed in its course. Think about pipes. Think about rivers, this kind of thing. Water that is rushing, that's like got an aim, got a focus, right? Scorpio is very concentrated in its effort. And so that kind of precision making beneficial aspect to Jupiter. Oh, the other thing that's going to happen is Mercury moves in there and hangs out with Mars in Scorpio as well at the same time. So that's not only the sort of brute strength of Mars, the ability to get in there and do the goddamn thing, but also there's a strategic component with Mercury. This is a thinking kind of Mars. This is a Mars who hits the right thing at the right time perfectly, precisely. This looks like it is a very good time to get out there and let the thing. Jupiter shines really well from this position. There's great cooperation to be had here. Not only are those things happening, but also Venus moves into Libra during the same time period. Venus in Libra is like Mars in Scorpio, is at home, is at comfortable in her own space. Venus is very good at doing the Venus things and the Libra things from this position. Now, Venus in Libra is going to be more of the elegance and the grace. I think of diplomacy a lot when I think of Venus and Libra. Think about making deals, fairness, balance, justice, all of this sort of stuff, right? Think about the balance or the scales as being ways to weigh up. This thing is good for me and that thing is good for you, and we can handshake about it. In fact, Saturn is exalted in Libra. It's good to think about the contract and the idea of shaking hands together to bond ourselves together in the long-term agreement sense. Venus in Libra is very good at doing the Venus in Libra things or doing the Venus things, which are going to be cooperation, friendship, harmony, togetherness, all of that sort of stuff. But in this Libra thinky, lawfare kind of way, thinking a lot about lawfare is the wrong way to think about it because that's close to warfare, but thinking, legalistically, thinking about what the rules are going to be and how we're going to divvy things up and how it's going to actually be fair and how the thing can actually work if we are to do it for the long term. Now, Venus in Libra is making a square to Jupiter in Cancer, but Jupiter is in the overcoming position. That is to say that Jupiter has the high ground. So if we think about like if we put Venus in Libra on the rising, so Venus is on the eastern horizon, then in that moment at the horizon, then Jupiter is going to be at the noontime point. Jupiter is up above, has the high ground on Venus. So that is to say that Jupiter can exert a kind of influence over that Venus in Libra. Now, what kind of influence does Jupiter in Cancer want to exert? Well, Jupiter in Cancer wants to grow things, wants to nourish, wants things to be full and joyous, and not only those things, but also wise. There's a fullness that comes with like an excitement to be together in the same space, that kind of thing, like an excitement. Like right now, for example, I have been working on my electional report for my patrons on Patreon. That's why I'm actually talking to you about this in the first place. I probably should have put a plug earlier in it, but I got so excited about the astrology that So I was looking, so every month I do a report for my patrons that is the month ahead, and it's all of the days, and it gives you times to strategically launch your project or do whatever thing it is you're going to do. If you're going to do, like if you run a business yourself, or if you want to go on a date or any of that sort of stuff, you can find auspicious times that are good for that and avoid other times, right? And so I publish a report for my patrons. And so I was looking through October and I noticed that there's all of these amazing elections. There's a lot of really, really good elections coming up in October that I'm very excited about. Some of them are like talisman worthy if you're into Picatrix magic and you want to bring some celestial influence down into a stone. Shout out to Josh Proto, who is doing a course on that pretty soon. You should check that out. I bet it's going to be dope. His talismans are dope. I did a ritual with him one time recently over the summer. It was a Jupiter in Cancer actually, and that dude goes in. You should check him out. I'm not going to teach you how to do Picatrix magic, but if you are into Picatrix magic, then some of these elections will put you in that place. I'm more of a everyday kind of dude, so I love to do a sigil launch if you're going to do some magic and witchcraft, but other than that, you can also just do like a business launch. You can send an important email. All of this kind of stuff can happen during that time. Now, I am probably going to release a course. I'm at least shooting at, girl, John be with me on that one. But we've got the Intro to Spirit course coming out pretty soon, where we're going to be talking about the idea of faith and spirituality in a post-religion kind of landscape. So I'm looking forward to launching during this time period. But the point I was trying to make here is that I was looking at that. I was looking at dates for my patrons, and I got so excited about it that I had to come out here and talk about it, right? I got full of the spirit and wanted to gush a little bit about the amazing astrology that's coming up, right? That is the kind of thing that the kind of influence that Jupiter in Cancer is trying to exert on the diplomacy, the togetherness, the cooperation, the ability to agree on fairness and justice together that Venus and Libra is bringing to the table. Now, doing that with the same fighter spirit and the strategic goal orientation of Mars in Scorpio looks like a really auspicious, beneficent kind of time. Now, Mars in Scorpio is maybe not beneficent entirely. Maybe Mars in Scorpio is a bit ruthless. Sometimes you gotta draw a little blood if you are going to win the war. And in fact, we've more frequently than I like to imagine find ourselves in times of fighting and contest. But if you are in a moment where you're looking to win some competitions, October is the time to do it. So you should go check out my Patreon. There's a whole bunch of times available there. There's previews to the Intro to Spirit course. There's access to me. You can ask me questions about the course content and all this kind of stuff, how to use the electional report, all this kind of thing, you should check it out, zambonifunk.com. Appreciate y'all. And no matter what happens, let October be beautiful for you.